There's a bowl of plain cornflakes on the counter, and right next to it, a spoonful of pure white sugar. The cornflakes spike your blood sugar harder than the spoon of sugar does. Not almost as much, harder. The thing that isn't even sweet wins. Which is the first clue that this whole question, does sugar cause acne, is built on the wrong word. Because if cornflakes can beat sugar at sugar's own game, then just cut out sugar was never really the instruction. The thing showing up on your skin isn't the sweet taste, it's something underneath it. And once you see what it actually is, half the healthy foods on your shelf start to look very different. Here's the thread to hold on to. There's a group of people who eat a diet that's 70% carbohydrate, and researchers couldn't find a single pimple among more than 1,000 of them. Not one. Stay with me, because how that's even possible tells you almost everything about what's really going on with your skin. Let's fix the word first. When people say sugar, they picture the sweet stuff, dessert, soda, the obvious villains. But your body doesn't actually care whether something tastes sweet. It cares how fast that food turns into glucose in your blood. There's a measure for exactly that, the glycemic index. Basically, how hard and how fast a food spikes your blood sugar. And the rankings are genuinely strange. Pure table sugar sits around 65. White bread climbs up near 95. Cornflakes higher still. A plain bagel, rice cakes, instant oats, all of them spike harder than the sugar everyone's so scared of. Because it was never about sweetness. Sweetness is a terrible predictor of the spike. Meanwhile, things you'd never file under sugar, an apple, lentils, beans, most vegetables, release their energy slowly. A gentle wave instead of a tidal wave. So the real question was never, do you eat sugar? It's how often does your blood sugar spike? And that quietly changes who the suspects are. So follow the spike. You eat something that floods your blood with glucose. Your body does not like glucose hanging around, so the pancreas fires out a big surge of insulin to clear it. Spike your blood sugar hard enough, often enough, and you start living in a state of high insulin. And insulin, it turns out, isn't just a blood sugar manager, it's a message. That surge does 3 quiet things at once. It pushes up a growth messenger called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. It lowers the proteins that normally mop up spare IGF-1, so more of it ends up floating around free. And it lowers another protein that usually keeps your sex hormones on a leash, which leaves more free androgens, the hormones that crank up oil production, circulating too. Now here's where it all converges. And if you've seen our dairy video, this part will feel familiar. IGF-1 and those androgens both push on the same control center inside your cells. Scientists call it mTOR. Just picture a switch labeled build mode. Flip it, and the cell goes into construction. Grow, multiply, produce oil. And your skin happens to hold some of the most hormone-sensitive tissue in your whole body. Those tiny oil glands inside your pores. Flip them into build mode, and they do exactly what they're told. They pump out more oil. The cells lining the pore divide faster and clog the opening. And the whole little system tips toward inflammation. More oil plus a clogged pore plus inflammation. That's the exact recipe for a breakout. And one big blood sugar spike just handed your skin all 3. Which brings us to the cruel part. Because the foods that spike you hardest aren't always the ones wearing the junk food label. Walk through a so-called healthy breakfast, a green smoothie that's mostly fruit and juice, a bowl of granola, rice cakes, a tall glass of orange juice, instant oats with a drizzle of honey. Every one of those can send your blood sugar through the roof, quietly, while you feel like you're being good. It's the same trap as the skim milk story, if you caught that one. The label says healthy, the blood sugar response says something else entirely. Low-fat processed foods are often packed with fast carbs to make up for the missing fat. All natural fruit juice is basically sugar with the fiber stripped out. The marketing and the metabolism are telling you 2 completely different things. And this is genuinely hard to eyeball because glycemic load is invisible. You can't taste it. If you're ever curious what your real intake actually looks like, an app like Chronometer lets you log what you eat and see your sugar and carbohydrate load instead of guessing at it. Not a rule, just a way to make the invisible visible, if that's useful to you. Now, that thread from the start. The people eating 70% carbs with no acne. In 2002, researchers examined more than 1,200 Kitavan Islanders in Papua New Guinea and over 100 Aceh hunter-gatherers in Paraguay, all trained eyes looking specifically for acne. They found 0 cases, none at all. And it wasn't genetics. Related populations who'd moved on to a Western diet broke out at completely normal rates. The difference was the food. Their carbs were tubers, fruit, fish, coconut, high in carbohydrate, but low and slow. The spike just wasn't there. So the system that drives acne was basically never switched on. And it isn't only observation. In controlled trials, people put on a low glycemic diet for a few months, saw their acne improve, and their IGF-1 drop, compared to people eating their usual high-spike foods. Lower the spike, lower the growth signal, calmer skin. But here's the most elegant clue we have, and it's the same one we landed on in the dairy video. There's a rare genetic condition where the body essentially can't produce that IGF-1 growth signal at all, and the people who have it share one striking trait. They effectively don't get acne. Take the signal away, whether it's coming from milk or from a blood sugar spike, and the acne goes with it. Two different doors, the same room. Which is the honest heart of all this. Sugar doesn't cause acne the way a key turns a lock. It's one of several doors into the same hormonal pathway, the same one milk walks through, the same one that ramps up naturally during puberty, which is exactly why teenagers get hit the hardest. Sugar isn't the villain in a story. It's one loud voice in a conversation your hormones are already having, and a real dose of honesty about the evidence. A lot of it is observational, and a recent pooled analysis found the diet link looked weaker and messier than the strongest single studies suggest. This isn't settled, gold standard, case-closed science. People respond differently. For some, the spike is the main speaker in the room. For others, it barely registers. So hold all of this as a strong lead, not a law. So where does this leave you, standing in your own kitchen? Not with a ban, with a dial. The move some people find useful isn't never eat sugar again, it's just lowering the overall spike. Swapping the foods that flood you fast for ones that release slow. White bread for whole, intact grains. Cereal for eggs. Juice for the actual fruit, fiber and all. And here's a quiet trick worth knowing. You don't always have to remove the carb, you can blunt it. Eating some fat, protein, or fiber alongside a starchy food slows how fast it hits your blood. Same food, smaller spike. So it's less about a list of forbidden things and more about how you build the plate. If you want to actually test it, the calm version is to lower your glycemic load for a few weeks and watch your own skin. Because the timeline here isn't overnight, it's usually weeks. And if nothing changes, that's information too. It quietly points the finger at one of the other doors, maybe the dairy side, maybe stress, maybe something else entirely. And if you want to see what's actually happening under the hood, this is one of those cases where extensive blood work, the kind that goes deeper than a standard once-a-year panel, can show you your own picture instead of a population average. What reads as normal on the lab printout is built from everyone. It isn't necessarily what's optimal for you. Take what's useful here and leave the rest. Your skin is yours. All of this is just a map. So, does sugar cause acne? The cleaner answer is that the spike does, sometimes, for some people, and sugar was always too small a word for it. It was never really about what tastes sweet. It's about how hard and how often your blood sugar jumps, and whether your skin happens to be one of the places that's listening. If this reframed how you think about your plate, save it somewhere you'll find it again. And if you haven't seen the dairy side of this story yet, same pathway, different door. That video pairs with this one almost perfectly. Drop a comment with what you want pulled apart next. That's usually where the next video comes from.